A concerted effort to preserve our heritage is a vital link to our cultural, educational, aesthetic, inspirational, and economic legacies. All of the things that quite literally make us who we are. Solid words from American author Steve Berry. And looking back at some of the things that make us who we are led us to Spanish Town and other places, where we are reminded of the grim realities of slavery, but the beauty embedded in our architecture. So come, journey with me back in time. This is Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson.
So here are the facts.
7 out of 10 Jamaicans die from a non-communicable disease.
Because we love our people and we want them to live better quality lives,
we, the Ministry of Health and our partners, are launching Jamaica Moves.
Jamaica Moves is a call to action to prevent non-communicable diseases.
By educating and encouraging Jamaicans to be active.
Eat healthy.
and start living 30 minutes at a time.
Because 30 minutes of physical activity each day,
along with proper nutrition, can go a long way
to prevent your risk from developing certain NCDs such as diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, and certain cancers.
And remember, it's life we're promoting. That's why you see me going hard right now.
I'm all about living.
So help us take this first step towards a healthier Jamaica so you can enjoy more moments, more memories, more life.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, October 4. The police yesterday intercepted several illegal rounds of ammunition and guns that were shipped to the island. 10 firearms, 640 rounds of ammunition, and 1 silencer were found in a barrel packed among food items. The operation was led by the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime (CTOC) division at the Kingston Container Terminal. 4 persons have been arrested in connection with the find. By year end, Parliament will debate on the future of the National Housing Trust, NHT. So says Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who asserts that the NHT in its present form is in need of reform to meet the housing demands placed on it. As a result, Mr. Holness says he will table the commissioned NHT Strategic Review report for Parliament to discuss a way forward for the entity.
That report has in it many proposals as to how we can reform the NHT so that it can both support the national agenda items, such as the economic programs, but also how to expand its true mandate, which is to increase home ownership in Jamaica.
Prime Minister Holness made the announcement Wednesday as he broke ground for the $860 million Maxfield Park housing development in St. Andrew. The project, which sits on 6.14 acres, will house 210 solutions.
It's not just getting the better housing solution, but just changing the way in which people live can literally transform and uplift the lives of the people.
Prime Minister Holness, meanwhile, announced that the NHT's new housing target is 23,000 housing solutions by the year 2021. Part of that thrust is the fast tracking of the NHT's community renewal program, where 1,000 solutions are expected to be delivered.
In Majestic Gardens, there will be 32 units developed. In Mona Commons, there will be 225 units to be developed. In Rasta City, in Tivoli Gardens, there will be 93. In Denham Town, there will be 28. In Juna Crescent, in Clarendon, there will be 70. In Canterbury, in St. James, 76.
100 houses are also to be constructed at St. Paul's Lane in Tower Hill and 131 at White Wing on Olympic Way in St. Andrew. International brand Hard Rock Hotel is to break ground for a 1,100-room resort in St. James. Construction of the hotel is to begin before year-end at Rose Hall in the parish. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett says once completed, the Hard Rock Resort will be the largest single hotel to be built in Jamaica.
It will be right beside Iberia Star going west towards the playfield.
The project is part of the 7,500 new rooms to be added to the local tourism product within the next 3 years. Mr. Bartlett made the disclosure at the recent launch of the Hospitality and Tourism Management Program at Spot Valley High School. The 2-year program commenced in September and involves 650 students across 32 schools. The first of its kind in the region, the program seeks to build a strong cadre of workers and entrepreneurs in the tourism industry. The performance task component of the primary exit profile, PEP, has been rescheduled from December 2018 to March 2019. The other two aspects, the ability test and curriculum-based test, will be conducted in February and April 2019 as previously scheduled. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid made the announcement Wednesday at his ministry's quarterly press briefing. He said the changes were based on recommendations from the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA.
Based on the consultation the JTA have had with their teachers and arising from just looking at where they are and their comfort level in terms of the new items and so on, they have asked us to make some adjustment to the examination schedule, which we have agreed to, and there's a MOU that we will sign with them to this effect. So as of now, I'm officially advising the country that we are now changing the schedule.
The government is to host a town hall meeting on the proposed development of National Heroes Park. The town hall meeting is scheduled for Heroes Circle on Thursday, October 25. All members of the community and stakeholders will be invited to participate in the discussion. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement during the sitting of the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
We will answer their questions and address their concerns. In keeping with this commitment, a contract has been prepared for the retention of the Social Development Commission, the agency mandated to lead interventions and sensitization of communities regarding government programs, to lead this aspect of the project going forward.
He said the Urban Development Corporation has also initiated consultations with the Member of Parliament and councillors of the Central Kingston constituency and stakeholders such as the Wolmer's Trust, technical and professional persons, and members of the construction industry to seek their input on the way forward. The government has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with China Construction America for the crafting of technical plans for the development of a center of government at National Heroes Park. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Motorists. East Avenue of Marcus Garvey Drive in Kingston is temporarily one-way. Coming from Marcus Garvey Drive, motorists are only allowed to head north onto East Avenue. Also, motorists are not allowed to turn left from Balmoral Avenue onto Maxfield Avenue. Chisholm Avenue and Oakland Road are also one-way roads going west from Balmoral Avenue. New traffic signals have been installed to indicate the short-term changes to the road network of Kingston.
Right across Jamaica, there are buildings that tell the story of our history as a people and a country. We stopped by the Filippo Baptist Church in Spanish Town, where part of the proclamation for the abolition of slavery was read.
It was our own national hero, the Right Excellent Sam Sharp, an enslaved man and a freedom fighter who said, "I would rather die upon yonder gallows than live in slavery." That sentiment was also shared by many other slaves. But the fight for freedom and the hope for victory brought liberation to many. Right here in Jamaica, the movement to end slavery was very active, and landmarks across the island document this part of our history.
We are on the Emancipation Trail, and we're looking at the symbolic parts of Jamaica which relate to emancipation, a very important change of status in our country. We're here in the Filippo Baptist Church compound in Spanish Town. Spanish Town is a very old city, founded in 1539, I believe. And this particular site was where the Baptists created a congregation in 1818. And this church, built by the Baptists at the time of Reverend Filippo, was part of the congregation that was very supportive of the move to emancipate all enslavement. And that is a magnificent building going back probably close to 200 years. This church is very historic. Right here under this tamarind tree, and identified by this plaque, is the slave chains which were buried on August the 1st, 1838. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Deacon Ivan O'Connor, a member of this congregation, who is going to tell us some more about this very historic site and its relationship to emancipation.
I understand that part of the Declaration of Emancipation was read from the steps of this church. And a deep hole was dug right here, and all the chains that were available were put in there and covered. And a tamarind tree was put there as a monument. I understand that the first tamarind tree was destroyed by the 51 hurricane, but it was replaced. And it stands here now as a monument where people can come and get tamarind and remember the slavery chains.
And touch the monument.
Right.
As part of our experience.
Right, it is here
of
as a
what
reminder.
Emancipation was all about.
Right.
But I also think we have to remind ourselves that the original official declaration was read from the steps of King's House,
That's
the facade which is still in front of the square.
That square is Emancipation Square, which is also in Spanish Town and just a few meters away from the Filippo Baptist Church. Here was once the town center. Other important buildings in the square include the Old House of Assembly, Rodney's Memorial, and the Old Courthouse. The area was severely damaged by fire, as well as the 1692 earthquake, but parts of the buildings have since been restored and put to use. Back over at the Filippo Baptist Church,
we want to reaffirm how important the Baptist movement and denomination was to emancipation. They were major players in persuading the English government to declare free at last, emancipation on the 1st of August, 1838.
And it is believed that the chains of slaves were buried at the Filippo Baptist Church due to its close proximity to Emancipation Square and the unrelenting movement by the Baptist Church to put an end to slavery.
Somebody said some time ago, how can we write the history of Jamaica without including the Baptists? The Baptists were one of the churches that were very integral to the teaching of the slaves and emancipation. James Filippo was one of the persons who was integral in getting emancipation for the slaves in Jamaica.
While emancipation was declared for slaves, their conditions were not improved. So the movement for a more just society was challenged by Paul Bogle and George William Gordon. They were also part of the Baptist movement and later became two of our national heroes. As a result of this involvement, Baptist work in Jamaica became an enduring symbol of the church's opposition to slavery and all other forms of injustice.
This building was put up sometime about 1827 thereabout, and has been maintained over time. It's a natural heritage site, and so the National Heritage Trust has control over what happens here. Right after emancipation, James Filippo established free villages like in Sligoville, in parts of Clarendon, and also in, established churches. So this church is steeped in our history in Jamaica.
Come out and support Jamaica's Sunshine Girls as they compete in an exciting international test series. Jamaica will compete in a week of competition against Trinidad and Tobago's Calypso Girls, followed by the England Roses. The countries compete at the National Indoor Sports Centre on Arthur Wint Drive, Kingston 5. Tickets are sold online at ticketpal.com and in limited amount at the venue on match days. Feel the rhythm, catch the vibe with Jamaica's national netball team, the Sunshine Girls.
Back in the 1700s and 1800s, Georgian-style architecture was very popular. It reflected who we were as a country while under British rule. Let's revisit a few of these landmarks. The year was 1655 when the British first explored the terra firma, which is Jamaica, and discovered her prime lands, peaceful people, and eternal splendor. They explored her economic viability, leaving us lush green spreads of sugarcane cultivation, covering countless square miles of this, our land. And today standing, many unyielding and unmoved, structures of an inimitable mold and imposing stance. Some over 250 years old, set aloft as waters of the world beneath and keepers of countless tales, which unraveled on the high seas. These are Stonewall monuments, enclosing priceless narratives of our heritage, erected under the directives of the British. These are structures of the Georgian ilk, strewn in the highlands and on the roadways of Jamaica. History tells us that the British plantocracy preferred the fruits of the earth to the life the land dictated. Many adopted a life of absenteeism because, according to them, the finer things of England could not be quite replicated on the islands. But the sugar estates thrived, returning to the planters an abundance of wealth. Many decided, after all, they could afford the good old English life here on the island. So they brought a cornerstone of the fine British life here. The obsession of the English planters with contemporary British taste led to the establishment of a potpourri of Georgian structures on the island between the late 18th and early 19th centuries. At the turn of the 19th century, when Jamaica emerged as the leading agrarian and military outpost, the secret of her architectural blueprint quickly spread to neighboring British territories. Nevertheless, the architectural splendor of the local collection is rivaled by only a handful of other British colonies in Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Barbados, and England herself.
We have the finest collection of Georgian buildings in the Caribbean, and indeed some of them are as fine as any in the England where the Georgian style started. So we need to take care of them.
Georgian-type edifices remain till today the most impressive example of domestic architecture in the West Indies. Georgian-style architecture became popular in England during the reign of King George IV and his antecedents from 1711 to 1830. However, the architectural form, according to the history books, was an 18th century fad, even though King George IV outlived the 1700s by some 30 years. The kings ruled during a particularly interesting period in Britain. It was a time when Britain was fast discovering her youth again, and the blueprint of the buildings of the time was drawn from the classic rebirth of that era. The architects of the age aimed at erecting simple symmetrical structures based on the shape of the circle and the belief that ancient mathematicians equated circles with geometric perfection. The Georgian building is a balanced structure, designed as it were for perfect dissection. Cast in what seems like plain brick or stonework or wood paneling, the Georgian-style building has enjoyed a 250-year-old groundwork of expertly laid red clay bricks, rectangular cuts of white limestone, and flat wooden slats. Fine examples of this intricate woodwork also aptly decorate the interior of the Georgian building. Watching the world outside set grandly in the building's walls are striking multi-glass windows, almost echoing a whispering reminder of the vintage appeal intrinsic in classic Georgian architecture.
Capital Spanish Town to gauge public opinion on the impact of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. Let's go find out. Peace step.
I for one think it's a good thing, and I would love to see them in Above Rock, St. Catherine.
Job well done, it's going, I love that. It prevents crime, and we can walk freely around Spanish Town now.
Well, I feel really good, because, you know, this Prime Minister doing well for us right now, and I like to see these police right now everywhere, because things is going on everywhere right now. You understand?
Yeah, I love to see them. I love to see them on the road.
You feel more secured and you feel safe.
Well, we feel 100% safe with them around.
Well, I haven't seen them, but I think they would do well wherever on it, especially now in the town, the place is a bit congested and all of that.
For everyone's safety, it is good to have them everywhere right now, and you know, when you see them more often, it's better for us, for the safety for the people.
Well, I don't feel no way because the police, that's it. I don't know, police, they have serving people, so can't feel no way, don't?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them. Yeah, I want to see more of them if possible.
Especially for me who have a child and my child is around this environment, I feel more safe, so I love to see them. I don't mind them being here.
Those were some of the opinions of motorists, pedestrians, and other residents of Spanish Town on the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. Peace them. I'm Vanessa Silvera.
I said be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next Prime Minister.
Sexual abuse is always a very difficult thing to confront, particularly when the alleged victim is a child. Parents, if it is that you suspect that your child has been sexually abused or is in a vulnerable set of circumstances where an abuse may occur, we encourage you to have dialogue with your child. Take the child to the pediatrician who normally attends to the child. If there is no such pediatrician, take your child to the clinic, to the hospital, to some medical practitioner who can do an assessment for you. It's very important as well that we don't just look at the physical side, but we also seek to find the kind of psychosocial support that a child may need. Does the child need a session with a counselor? Does the child need to speak with a pastor who is used to dealing with these issues? Does the child need to get that ongoing psychological support to assist with the healing process and also to assist the child in becoming strong enough, as it were, to deal with the various processes that will follow once it is that you suspect an abuse has occurred? If it is that the child actually discloses when you engage the child in discussion that, yes, mommy and daddy, I was abused, we encourage you to entertain the child, to listen to what the child has to say to you, and to take it very seriously. So we really urge you to have those discussions and to seek guidance in terms of, do I speak to the police about this, which we always say you have to, because once a child has been sexually abused, it's a criminal matter, and it means that once at all possible, the child should be assisted to go through the processes so that the perpetrator can in fact be held accountable. Support your child and let them understand in very clear terms that they are not the cause or the reason for this abuse having been perpetrated. But the most important element is to support them, get them access to the services that they need, and give them a chance to have you give them that listening ear. For these tips and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm. Thank you.
Watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you're saying to my sister, cause she could be the next Prime Minister.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.